Least analyst and former U.S. State Department official Laura Blumenfeld is joining us tonight. Laura, good to have you back on the program. At what point does the U.S. join the number of other countries in taking a much tougher line with Israel, particularly on the distribution of aid via the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation?
That question is key because we see today Hamas is losing Gaza, but Israel is losing the world. All that said, there's only one country that counts, and that is President Trump of the United States. I think the president has a decision to make. He's a developer. What is his vision for the Middle East? Is it Gaza Riviera? In which case, this would make some sense that he's using Netanyahu as kind of a wrecking ball for a territory that he hopes to, as he put it, have or just get. Which raised a lot of eyebrows and dropped a lot of jaws several months ago when he first proposed it. Or is his other vision the one that he actually wants to fulfill and execute, which is expanding the Abraham Accords, which would require stability, the opposite of the chaos that we're seeing today? I would call it the Benjamin Accords because I think it's all based on the dollars and expanding business and economy. And as we all know, war is bad for business.
In those scenarios that you just laid out there and what President Trump might want, where does all of that leave Gazans, civilians who at this point are struggling even to get the least amount of food they need to survive?
So again, as I understand it, the Gaza Riviera plan leaves them boxed in a horrible corner, which is where they are today. Desperate. We can't forget, though, as Secretary Blinken, Biden's Secretary of State, said, recently that if we spent 10% of our time focusing on Hamas also, and that the agency that they have, that if they lay down their arms and release the hostages, that takes away every pretext from the IDF to be in Gaza, to be occupying and terrorizing the civilian population. So much about this war has not been about being strong, but about being smart. And I would just say a bit of strategic advice to Hamas, which is the smartest thing that they could do is release the hostages, and it would be a moral victory and a strategic victory. There would be no more argument then to continue, as you said, grinding down the population, and they're all suffering for it. Whose fault it is, we could trade blame all day, but I think that there is a solution here. And again, I know that we've spoken times before and I've said we're close, but I do believe we are close.
What makes you think we are close, Laura? Because we've seen this back and forth. And as you said, we've discussed many times on this program, and President Trump had seemed optimistic, but then it seems the White House had walked back perhaps that sense of optimism that there could be some sort of ceasefire agreement.
He is responsive to optics, and all day long, whether you're on social media or looking at the front page of the New York Times, I'm not sure he's quite there, but it's also in the MAGA media and the MAGA world, where people are really saying it's time to end this war. And I do believe that Trump has a wide open ear to the media. Part of it, the problem actually for Israel is that their media is reflecting more of an internal, introspective point of view. Their biggest headline today as it relates to Gaza was that hostage families fear as Israeli forces drive into Deir al-Balah, which is the one area in Gaza that the soldiers have not entered before because there was this concern that the hostages were being held there. So again, everybody's kind of digesting their own information diet, but I think Trump's is all important.
Laura Blumenfeld, great to have your analysis as always. Thank you so much.